You know, the whole point with cult leaders isn't so much, hey, talk about another, hey, talk about another. There's loads of little wacky cults, new religions, whatever you want to call them, fringe beliefs, some of them old, some of them new. Many crazy ideas. I mean, crazy ideas don't have to belong to a cult. It could just be an individual who becomes an author who gains a following. It's kind of an internet cult or a culture of a kind. Pointing out the warning signs is important. It's ticking boxes. You tick all the boxes, you may want to look very hard at your belief and think, hey, I'm in the wrong belief. I'm in the wrong belief here. If you tick a number of the boxes, say a majority of the boxes, something to look at, to be concerned about. You're not the worst case scenario, at least not in most ways, but you may have a problem. You may have a problem. And, of course, you're only ticking a few boxes. So it's like, oh yeah, cult characteristics. You know, 13 things, 10 things, whatever the case may be, 10 criteria, 10 traits, 10 things to be warned of. These characteristics. You tick 2 boxes. You're in a mainstream religion. That says something about your mainstream religion. You know? Yeah, this exploitative televangelist isn't like Charles Manson. Isn't too much like L. Ron Hubbard. Isn't too much like, well, maybe more like Jim Jones than they'd want to admit, but no one's died. They take a lot of money. And they're very charismatic as a leader. And they're manipulative as well. A lot of propaganda. Coercing people, you know, changing your view of reality. What's it called? Milieu control? You know, like your view of reality. How they recruit, how they convert, how they operate. Plenty of warning signs, but they're considered to be a normal Christian belief by a great many Christians, because there's a great many Christian organisations that operate in that way. You think you're safe because this is normal to you and where you are. You know, where you are in the world, the kind of culture you have. This is normal. But it has a number of traits. It has a number of the issues. It has a number of the things that we would call cult characteristics. And then you have to question, am I in a cult? It's got this, it's got that, it's got the other. Is this all fair according to a reasonable spirituality? This person with a private jet, with numerous fancy cars, with numerous homes, costing many millions, maybe more. Massive income, technically, them and their family members are trustees of the organisation, yet they live with the Rolexes and the fine suits, and they're doing very well, and you have yet to have your miracle happen. Giving money, because you give more, you get more back. You know, this divine kind of process, supposedly divine. And you might get an inheritance, and it's like, oh, I've got my money back. But was that down to God, or was that down to something else? Just simply things that would have happened almost certainly anyway. Many people are fooled, and they won't read the cult characteristics and understand that just because you don't tick every single box doesn't mean that you're safe. So no one's been raped, murdered, there's been no group suicide, there's been no acts of terrorism. Some of these, you know, worst traits, some of the most dangerous cults have these traits, of course. But your organisation, which does everything else, doesn't have these traits. Therefore, you're not a cult. If that's the definition, it's a very skewed definition. That's the problem. People see these things in a very skewed way because they're used to being an apologist for their cult belief.